Exeter haven't been away for quite as long. They went down to the conference in 2003, but were second best in the first half. George Friend hauled down Billy Clark, and Rob Purdy drilled home the penalty. But the Grecians were far better after the break and thoroughly deserved the point they secured through defender Dan Seaborn's header. Exeter boss Paul Tisdale would just love to put one over Southampton. He's a former Saints player. But it didn't look likely when Paul Watson teed up Lee Holmes on the half hour. And it looked like it was all over when David McGoldrick doubled the lead with 13 minutes left. The Irishman's second goal in successive games, and a very classy effort too, through a tired-looking Grecian's defence. But Exeter set up a rousing finale when Dean Moxey out-jumped Saints keeper Bartosz Bielkowski. Moxey wasn't even expected to play following a foot injury. But there was no fairy tale for the side promoted from the conference last season. So many men committed upfield and so little cover at the back. Danny Seaborn fouled McGoldrick, who picked himself up to bury the penalty.
Despite controlling much of the game, Exeter were beaten by this superb Paul Murray strike. The home side had hit the bar 3 times in the first half, but ended up empty-handed.
Ryan Harley has the distinction of being the scorer of the goal that gave Exeter their first win since returning to the Football League after a 5-year absence.
Luton have now chipped 7 points off their deduction, their second away league win courtesy of Sam Parkin.
Exeter boss Paul Tisdale saw his side win at home for the first time since returning to the league, but admitted it was the worst they'd played all season. Accrington went ahead when Jamie Clark's single-mindedness bought him a first senior goal. Stanley went close to a second as well when John Miles' curled effort came back off the bar. The Grecians went on to capitalise on their good fortune and levelled on the stroke of half-time. Matt Gill stabbing past Kenny Arthur for his first goal of the season. And Tisdale, whose side had lost all 4 of their previous league and cup games at St James's Park, grabbed a second-half winner. Ryan Harley picked out Ben Watson, who scored his first goal since completing his permanent move to Exeter last March.
An upset looked like it could be on the cards when Exeter took the lead at Bradford. Matt Clark casually cleared Ryan Harley's cross, and Matt Gill made the most of the opportunity for the Grecians. But Bantam striker Peter Thorne said that a half-time refocusing from boss Stuart McCall led to a clinical fight back. Thorne made it 1-1 after keeper Paul Jones could only parry Joe Colbeck's long ranger. And 5 minutes later, McCall's team were in front. Paul Arneson's cross was met by Michael Boulding, who rose above Dean Moxey to make it 2-1. Colbeck and Thorne linked up once more for the Bantams. Thorne is having a great start to the season. He's the top scorer in the Football League with 8 goals already this term. Victory means that Bradford are top of League 2, and the scoring was rounded off thanks to a fine run from Omar Daly, which started midway inside his own half and saw him get the better of Liam Sercombe and Steve Tully before picking out Boulding for his second of the afternoon.
Exeter have made a relatively smooth transition to life in the Football League. 10 of their players helped them to promotion from the conference. Notts County, however, were still looking for their first win. Andy Ford reports.
Exeter are flying the flag back in the Football League, and there aren't many better places to be than the West Country when the sun's shining. They're all smiles after 5 years in the non-league wilderness.
Yes, 5 very frustrating years for a club and a city that really size-wise should be back in the league, and eventually we did it. And of course we want to not only stay here, we want to improve over the next few years and try and get up another division even.
With 1 home win in 4, Exeter were up against a team who can't seem to win away. Notts County have had their own troubles of late.
We seem to be drawing every week. We need to win a game. We need to learn to keep the lead when we've got it. But yeah, they're playing good football, and you can't argue if they're playing good football. We've had 5 years of rubbish.
It would be a shock to see us win any game. I reckon for 2-2 today.
Wise words from a Notts County fan who's seen it all before. It was Exeter who looked the better side in the first half. From a corner, Dean Moxey found the head of Matthew Taylor. Somehow the ball was cleared off the line. With 22 minutes gone, Marcus Stewart laid the ball back to Moxey, and his cross found Matt Gill at the far post. That was Gill's third goal in his last 3 games. The worry for Paul Tisdale was how could Exeter hold on to their lead. The second half comeback saw Notts County battle their way back into the game. Jamie Forrester's shot was brilliantly saved by Paul Jones. Then when Exeter gave away a free kick, Michael Johnson was left totally unmarked to score the equaliser. Back came Exeter though. With just 3 minutes left, Taylor took advantage of some shocking marking to score. Exeter were just a few minutes away from only their second home league win of the season. But deep into injury time, a surging run from Matthew Hamshaw opened things up. Former Exeter striker Sean Canham ruined everything for his old club with the equaliser.
Ian, it's lovely when that happens, isn't it?
Yeah, it was nice for us today because the previous games this season we lost one in the 92nd minute last week when we had went 1-0 ahead, which was a severe blow, and we really deserved to win the game in the second half. What goes around comes around, and it came around this week.
Yeah, we've got to do better than we did today with a minute to go. It's the manager would tell you that you can see the late goal. It's incredibly frustrating, and that's how it feels now.
But Exeter making a smooth transition. Steve, you brought Cheltenham into the Football League a few years ago now. What are the things you have to adjust for, first of all?
I don't think you need to change your playing personnel too much. I think that is very important because you will go and spend a lot of money, and I don't think you need to. I think lads who do well in the conference will step up. It will take them a bit of time. It helps with them already have been a league club previous, and I think with the experience of Steve Perriman there, who I think has done a magnificent job over the years, never moved from there, and I think he's top man, and to stay there the time he stayed there, because I'm sure he's had opportunities to move on, will really help them.
Okay.
After 3 straight wins, Macclesfield were left shell-shocked after this drubbing. It took just 48 seconds for Adam Stansfield to hook the Grecians into the lead. It was strictly fancy footwork. Exeter were heading for their biggest win of the season. Rob Edwards, the instigator, and a splendid finish from Ryan Harley, who stroked the ball past keeper Johnny Brain. Macclesfield thought they'd got a foothold in the game when Simon Yeo outpaced the Macclesfield defence and volleyed a goal back, and injured himself in the process. But there was no denying Paul Tisdale's new boys, who added 2 more goals in a one-sided second half. The first of them a real soft one too, from Adam Stansfield. He's scoring for the season off and running. And with 5 minutes left, Exeter grabbed their 4th with a dazzling display of close control and passing. Skipper Matthew Gill rounding off a splendid day at the office. The Grecians now moving to 11 points, 7 collected on the road.
Gillingham boss Mark Stimson admitted that this wasn't a bad day at the office, it was a terrible one, as his team gifted Exeter the victory. Marcus Stewart's cross was met by Richard Logan, who started the scoring. The Kent club have let in 12 goals in the last 3 on the road, and their failure to deal with 2 Stewart crosses led to them leaking a second goal. After keeper Simon Royce had blocked Ryan Harley's shot, Adam Stansfield was able to place the ball into an empty net. But then a dreadful lapse of concentration from John Nutter saw him pass to Stansfield, who then evaded Gary Richards before slotting in his second of the afternoon. Victory leaves Exeter in 7th place, 1 point above the Gills.
Bury's unbeaten start to the season was ended by a single Exeter goal at Gig Lane. The 500-mile round trip made much sweeter after Richard Logan steered the ball past Shakers keeper Wayne Brown for his second goal in 2 games.
It's 2 points from 2 games for new Grimsby boss Mike Newell. They rode their luck here. Marcus Stewart firing in a dangerous cross. Dean Moxey's header clawed away by Phil Barnes. The Mariners had their moments too. Defender Tom New's athleticism got him into a good position. This time Exeter keeper Paul Jones cleared the danger. Exeter City came, saw and conquered at Vale Park. A 3-1 win had the new manager scratching his head.
It was disappointing because, again, totally different game to what we'd been playing away from home. You know, with 2 local derbies in a way, the Shrewsbury and Chester being an hour away from us. You know, Exeter are a good side. They're in the top 7 for a reason. You know, they eat you on the counter-attack, but they're very good at retaining the possession. That's when you start losing your heads a little bit, and anxiety creeps in that you go chasing a lot, and that's what happened in the end.
Exeter came up with Gary Waddock's Aldershot last season and they're enjoying life. They went to Barnet looking to go 3rd in the table. That game leads off the rest of the action from Coca-Cola League 2.
Exeter are up to 3rd after a single goal victory at Barnet, and it came after a neat build-up involving sub Ben Watson and Marcus Stewart. The ball ricocheted to Matt Gill, who made it 2 in 2 games. His celebration jig inspired by Cuba Gooding Jr. in the film Jerry Maguire.
Much like their crooked spire, Chesterfield's season has hardly gone in a straight line. But 14 goals and 3 wins from their last 3 matches have changed all that. They hit 6 at Exeter in midweek. Jamie Winter and Alan Goodall putting them 2 up at the break. Adam Stansfield pulled one back for Exeter, who'd previously been unbeaten in 7. But when Jamie Ward's shot was parried, Jack Lester poached a 3rd. Leicester scored 27 last season. He made it 9 in this when he coolly got the better of the keeper. Man of the moment Jamie Ward cemented his position as League Two's top marksman with his 10th of the season, before Darren Curry added an astonishing 6th, their biggest ever away win. Exeter bounced back from their heaviest home defeat in 12 years, a 6-1 mauling by Chesterfield to see off Chester. Marcus Stewart setting up the opener for Adam Stansfield to keep the Grecians in the promotion mix. And Exeter made the game safe with just 2 minutes remaining. A fine cross from Rob Edwards, the header from Matt Taylor, equally impressive.
On any normal weekend, Curzon Ashton barely register on Greater Manchester's football radar. But from the moment Chris Worsley's shot looped over Exeter's Paul Jones, the lads from Ashton-under-Lyne seem to be loving the limelight. After the break, they stretched their lead through Gambian international James Agu, an astounding first of the season. The Unibong League side showing scant regard for opponents 4 divisions higher in the pyramid. Curzon had never before reached the competition proper. The step-up handled with a swagger as Michael Norton completed the League 2 high flyers' humiliation. It turned out they needed that goal. Exeter finally made an impression 6 minutes from time, Steve Basham nipping in to spark hope of a late Curzon collapse. But the Devon club had Matt Gill sent off, and when Dean Moxey netted Exeter's second, pested down and delivered sweetly, his reaction told the story. Too little, too late. The tiny Tameside Stadium have witnessed the club's greatest win, Agu's goal from nothing, encapsulating the cup's glorious unpredictability.
Talk about turning defence into attack. 1 minute Exeter's Dean Moxey was giving the ball away. The next, Aldershot were on a cavalry charge for goal. An error from Steve Tully handed the winner to John Grant, who kept a cool head, only to be confronted by the Aldershot Dragon. Aldershot ought to have made the game safe with just 12 minutes left. Scott Davis was barged off the ball by Moxey. Referee Pat Miller had no doubts. But Grant and Aldershot were denied by an excellent triple save from keeper Paul Jones. Somehow Exeter managed to clear their lines. Late on, Daniel Hilton's reckless challenge on Tully saw him rightly dismissed. But it was too late to inspire an Exeter comeback. A straight red from referee Miller.
Morecambe boss Sammy McElroy admitted his side had the game against Exeter in their pockets at Christie Park, but they had to settle for a share of the spoils. Rennie Howe seized on a moment of indecision by Grecian's keeper Paul Jones to open the scoring. Having gone 7 unbeaten, Exeter had lost 2 of their last 3, and things went from bad to worse here when French midfielder Bertie Kozic was sent off by referee Nigel Miller. Kozic caught Craig Stanley with a flailing arm, and Miller produced a straight red card to reduce the visitors to 10 men, much to the Frenchman's obvious bemusement. Exeter's leveller came from Manny Panther, who was returning from a 9-game ban, picked up one on loan at Rushden for 2 red cards in 3 games. His first Grecian's goal came 5 minutes from the end and rescued a point as Panther curled his long ranger beyond keeper Barry Roach.
All square at St James's Park, with Exeter taking the lead just before the break. Emmanuel Panther's cross bundled home by Ben Watson, his second goal of the season. But in the second half, his evening turned sour. He was pulled back in the box by Mark Joseph. Referee Graham Scott pointed to the spot, but Watson's penalty superbly saved by David Stockdale. Rotherham then found their route back into the game via a penalty as the Exeter defence got a bad case of the jitters. Keeper Paul Jones clattering into Richie Barker. Reuben Reid made Exeter pay from the penalty spot. Exeter came from behind to snatch victory after Lincoln had grabbed a goal at the start of the second half. The Imps took the lead when David Graham's shot was parried. Linnell John Lewis was on the spot to put them ahead. Lincoln manager Peter Jackson will be wondering how they didn't add to that lead. A deja vu moment for John Lewis. This time he hit the post. Exeter made them pay. Matt Gill's long throw found sub Craig McAllister and he headed the Grecians level. Then the game's pivotal moment as Exeter went looking for a winner. Moxie played and appeals for offside. Danny and Gesson halted his run. Referee Dean Whitestone reached for a straight red, and Gesson was off for a professional foul. Worse was to follow for Lincoln in the dying seconds as Exeter pressed for a second. McAllister's flick on found Dean Moxie, and Exeter grabbed victory with almost the last kick of the match.
Dagenham started brightly against Exeter, but their hopes of a victory faded away. Paul Benson's header deflected in, but his 11th league goal of the season didn't ultimately matter because a power cut plunged part of the stadium into darkness. Referee Craig Pawson allowed the game to continue until half-time, but eventually he had to abandon the match. He felt there wasn't enough light to continue and the problem would take too long to fix properly. Exeter recorded their biggest home win of the season with this victory over Rochdale. Steve Basham started the scoring after Rory McArdle's clearance was partially cleared by Sam Russell. And then in the 31st minute, Rochdale were reduced to 10 men. Ryan Harley raced clear. Backtracking Scott Wiseman touched Harley's arm. Referee David Phillips felt that the contact was sufficient to deny a goal-scoring opportunity and decided to show Wiseman a straight red card. From the resulting penalty, Steve Basham calmly made it 2-0 in front of nearly 4,500 fans at St James's Park. In the second half, the introduction of substitute Craig McAllister helped to enhance the scoreline. McAllister's pace was too much for the visitors as the 28-year-old scored for the second match in a row. The Grecians made it 4-0 in the 87th minute when McAllister was able to get to the ball before stand-in skipper Rory McArdle. This was hardly the way that Keith Hill had wanted to celebrate being in charge of Rochdale for 2 years, but there was a late twist. Rochdale were able to get a consolation goal after Exeter were unable to clear the ball. And when Danny Seaborn challenged with John Shaw, referee Phillips pointed to the spot for the second time. This was an easier decision to make. and Clark Kelty made it 4-1. The defeat leaves Rochdale a point outside the playoff positions. Brentford took full advantage of Wycombe's stumble with this victory at Exeter by scoring twice in 4 minutes. There was a hint of controversy about their first goal, which came when referee Tony Bates awarded a penalty after Rob Edwards challenged Charlie McDonald. Unhappy Grecian's boss Paul Tisdale felt it was a clean tackle. McDonald took the penalty himself to score his third goal in 6 matches for the informed Bees, who've picked up 17 from the last 21 points. There was nothing controversial about their second. It was down to some good first-touch football, and it was rounded off by a lovely finish from Sam Wood to give him his first senior goal since he joined Brentford from non-league side Bromley.
We're talking about Notts County, your former club and Paul's former club. They were in action as well, and one of 3 games only in Coca-Cola League 2, and 2-1 winners over Exeter. Started with a penalty. Michael Johnson fouling Adam Stansfield.
Look at Michael Johnson here. I can't believe he's given that. He's not tapped him from behind or anything. The linesman can't wait to
he's
get.
He's run across him, hasn't he? Look, he's run across. He's not flick of the heels.
He's not moved. He's changed his stride or anything, has he? Yeah. You know, same as the Lincoln one. The penalty was a bad penalty, sending off against Lincoln, and this is another one that was a bad.
Marcus Stewart though got the goal to put Exeter ahead, but that's as good as it got for Exeter. Notts County coming back to win 2-1. Delroy Facey would get the equaliser, and then Gavin Strachan will get the winners. We'll see in a few moments. But Ian McParland, Charlie McParland's been under a bit of pressure there, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely. They needed that win. Charlie's a good lad, and he's working so hard and straight. He must ring us 2 or 3 times a week. But sometimes you just need a little bit. It's a bit fortunate that, isn't it, Delroy? He comes off their player, and you need a little bit of rub of the green. And Strachan as well. He's been getting some stick down at Meadow Lane, and that's how to quietening it up.
It's great. I mean, Gordon's lad's a lovely little footballer, and he probably suffers from the fact that he's Gordon's son as well. But he's a lovely little footballer. When they're playing well, everything goes through him. And I don't think sometimes the crowd appreciate that, and it was nice to see him get a goal.
Yeah, he gets the winner here, but also picked up a hamstring, and he suffered from hamstring problems before, so you hope
he'll not be bothered about his hamstring. That's more concerned with scoring that goal. I think he might have done it celebrating. But it's a great win for Notts County. That they really needed those 3 points.
Okay, let's take a look at the table then in Coca-Cola League 1. Just the 3 games played.
Bury missed the chance to climb back into the top 3 as Exeter put up the shutters at St James's Park to frustrate Alan Nill's side. Andy Bishop just failed to connect to this cross in the area. Both goalkeepers were in good form. Exeter's Mark Tyler prevented Neil Saunders' ball in, reaching Richard Logan in the centre.
Two clubs with promotion ambitions. It was Exeter who took the lead just before the half-hour mark. Craig McAllister was brought down inside the area by Magnus Okungu. Clear contact made, penalty awarded. The spot kick was saved by Tony Roberts, but McAllister followed up to force home the rebound. Shortly before the interval, Dagenham were back in this match. Scott Griffith's centre met by Ben Strevens to make it 1-1. Exeter restored their lead almost immediately after the interval. Steve Tully's cross was volleyed home by McAllister, his second of the game. It proved to be the winner.
A 12th clean sheet of the season for Gillingham, who made it 3 league wins in a row with victory over Exeter at the Priestfield. Adam Miller turned in the only goal with 11 minutes left to lift the Gills up to 4th.
That's not a lot I can say really. I just ball came out of the air. I'm not sure who flicked it on, but I just thought contemplated trying to play a through ball, but the manager had said try and test the goalkeeper early on, so I just hit it, and luckily it went in the goal.
And not a bad one to get for your first one.
No, I would have taken any goal really from my first league goal, but that was obviously extra proven to do it that way.
I wouldn't call that luck today. It was a very good save, based on some information that our scouts have been doing for us. So good information, good play by our goalkeeping coach, very good save by Paul Jones, and I thought a very harsh decision. So talking about being lucky or unlucky, possibly unlucky, and then very well done, Mel Gwinnett and Paul.
Exeter got off to a great start at Grimsby as they went in search of back-to-back victories. A quickly taken free kick caught out the Mariners' defence, and Marcus Stewart took advantage to curl a fine effort beyond keeper Phil Barnes. But goals either side of half-time put Mike Newell's side in the driving seat. Both came from Nathan Jarman. The first in stoppage time at the end of the first half, as Jarman swept Adam Proudlock's miss-hit shot in from close range. And Jarman was on the mark again to net his 5th of the season. Hesitant defending from Rob Edwards allowed the Mariners striker to beat keeper Paul Jones and make it 2-1. Boss Newell was sent to the stand by referee Stuart Atwell in the second half for a comment he made to the assistant referee. And he saw his side surrender their lead as Exeter took a point from their first trip to Blundell Park since 1991. Matthew Gill's long throw wasn't cleared, and Ryan Harley's well-struck shot evaded keeper Barnes. 2 goals in each half against Macclesfield saw Exeter move back into the playoff places. They'd gone ahead after 16 minutes when Dean Moxey's cross was turned in by Adam Stansfield. And just before half-time, the lead was doubled as Richard Logan's crisp strike from the edge of the area evaded keeper Johnny Brain. Defeat extended the Siltmans' away record to 4 without a win, and they found themselves further behind with 17 minutes left. Matt Gill's low shot hit the post, and Neil Saunders turned in the rebound for his 2nd goal of the season. And 3 minutes later, the Grecians confirmed their biggest win since returning to the Football League. Keeper Brain spilled Marcus Stewart's shot, and Craig McAllister made it 4.
Welcome back. Nigel Pearson and Scott Minto with us this week as we go to a match between 2 clubs enjoying their first season back in the Football League, and they served up a 5-goal special. Patrick Davison reports.
Exeter and Aldershot have faced non-league obscurity and come close to oblivion. In 1992, Aldershot FC went to the wall and a new club had to be formed, by only being drawn against Manchester United in the FA Cup stopped Exeter from suffering a similar fate. Then last season the Shots clinched the conference title at Exeter, while the Grecians sealed their own promotion in the playoffs. In the past, the Football League has got the better of both clubs. This time, they're rising to the challenge.
I enjoyed the conference last year. I've enjoyed this season. And we just want to progress and develop and push the club forward. So I'm enjoying every moment of it.
It's a good test for us because both teams had a history in the league, went out, had some financial problems, regrouped, got back themselves back together, and got out the very tough Blue Square Conference.
Exeter fans had gone 5 years without league football, while Shot supporters had endured 16 years in the wilderness.
It's just better to be in League 2, it's a lot more travelling, a lot more exciting, just a brilliant experience all round.
The turning point was obviously the Manchester United game, when they went up there to Old Trafford and managed to get a draw, and that paid off all their debts. And to see them in the Football League so shortly afterwards was absolutely brilliant.
Aldershot set the pace in the conference, but the roles have been reversed so far this season. Exeter went into the day 11 points above their rivals. On a day where both teams proved why they've acquitted themselves so well in League 2, Exeter struck first, carving the visitors open for Marcus Stewart to finish. Early in the second half, Exeter had opportunities to extend their advantage. Richard Logan one of those guilty of missing chances. If the goal that gave Exeter the lead was well worked, then Aldershot's equaliser was even better. A series of one-touch passes opening the way for Jake Robinson to score in the first game of his second spell with the club. 5 minutes later, Ben Harding's low drive found its way past Paul Jones in the Exeter goal. Half an hour remaining, and the Shots were 2-1 in front. But a game that had turned on its head once suddenly turned again. Andy Sandell misdirecting the ball past his own goalkeeper. 2 minutes later, Neil Saunders gave the game the finale it deserved, bending his free kick into the top corner with just 10 minutes to go. The win leaves Exeter 6th and in with a genuine chance of a second consecutive promotion. Aldershot, though, have now gone 7 without a victory. Their dreams of a playoff place are fading fast.
We'll stick together, we continue to work hard. Exeter are a good side, informed side, so it's always going to be tough for us down here. We've got another difficult away game against Gillingham Tuesday, but we'll continue to play the way we play and it will turn for us.
We're not getting carried away, we're not taking anything for granted. It's a tough league and we've got plenty of tough games to come, so we'll enjoy today because we deserve to. And then we've got a couple of tough games on the road, and the road is a long road from Exeter, I can assure you.
It's a good road though, isn't it, when you're playing Football League football rather than conference football, and all the fans seem to enjoy it, don't they?
Yeah, I think everyone, the whole club enjoys it. I don't actually think that the top of the conference, there's not that much difference between them and League Two. And they've
they're
shown
mostly
that.
full-time, aren't they, conference?
They are. They're training on a daily basis. And I think that's important. It's just a question of trying to get up. Once you get up, you can actually prove you are as good as anyone else in League Two. And they're certainly doing that. Exeter on a great run. They're in the playoffs at the moment, and I expect them to stay there at the end of the season.
And they could do back-to-back promotions, couldn't they? It has been done before. Just backing up there, really, what Scott's saying about not much difference. You can go, Carlisle have done it, Hereford have just done it.
Absolutely, but that is reality football. I mean, when we see the Premiership each week, and I think if you ask most youngsters, that's the sort of football they want to watch. But these lads, there's a lot of clubs who are working very, very hard all the time, and I think they're great stories. I think it's good to see sides who have experience dropping out of the league, finding a way and making a way of coming back, and I think they are the good
players
stories
as well. Marcus Stewart there scoring. What a career he's had, and he's still playing down in those levels.
Absolutely.
Great stories.
Yeah,
you're right, Nigel.
A stalemate at the Diva Stadium watched by only 1,600 fans. Exeter's best early chance falling to Neil Saunders. Keeper John Danby smothering the ball. But at least Chester ended their 6-match losing run with a point. A dreary game short on quality was probably best summed up by the miss of the day. Ryan Lowe has scored 13 this season. Maybe that's an unlucky figure because his miss here was dreadful. A dismal week for Darlington ended with defeat at St James Park. After a 10-point deduction for going into administration, they succumbed to 2 late Exeter goals. Neil Austin charging down a Matt Taylor shot with 18 minutes left and conceding a penalty. Matt Gill's spot kick beat keeper Andy Oakes to further demoralise Darlow. And a second Exeter goal with 7 minutes left boosted the Grecians' playoff hopes. Dean Moxey's second chance of getting the ball into the danger area ended with sub Craig McAllister heading home from close range. And just when Darlington thought it couldn't get any worse, it did. Defender Alan White was red-carded after his second bookable offence on the halfway line. Referee Stuart Atwell made it a very long way home indeed for the 200 Darlington fans.
Exeter missed the chance to take the lead at Shrewsbury when Matt Gill blasted a penalty against the crossbar. And they then gifted the home side a spot kick themselves when Troy Archibald Henville brought down Moses Ashakodi. Shrews top scorer Grant Holt slotted home from 12 yards to leave the Grecians chasing the game. But Paul Tisdale's side remain in the playoff positions after Marcus Stewart nodded in Alex Russell's corner from close range.
So, as Argyle head off to Swansea tomorrow, Exeter City return home after their excellent League Two win at Luton. Another one against Bournemouth tomorrow could put them in the automatic promotion places.
Exeter City strengthened their League Two playoff position with a 2-1 victory at bottom club Luton, the side who had 30 points deducted at the start of the season. 2 goals from Adam Stansfield and Liam Sercombe put City 2-0 up after just 30 minutes, and they looked totally in command against a side who were in pretty good form themselves going into the match. The home side did manage to score before half-time, but a nerve-wracking second-half rearguard action ensured all 3 points were heading back to Devon and leave City now just 1 point away from the automatic promotion top 3. Chris Spittles for the West Country Tonight. Exeter look set to extend their recent run of good form when Adam Stansfield capitalised on hesitant defending to put them ahead against Bournemouth. And the Grecians nearly doubled the lead only for Shawan Jalal to deny Steve Basham. Then a dreadful mix-up between Troy Archibald Hemville and goalkeeper Paul Jones handed an equaliser to former Torquay midfielder Danny Hollands. The City defence were also guilty of standing off Brett Pittman as the Cherry striker ran from inside his own half before slotting past Jones to put the visitors ahead. Paul Tisdale's men nearly salvaged a point through Craig McAllister, but he saw his effort cleared off the line. And with 3 minutes left, Pittman sealed a victory which takes Bournemouth out of the League Two relegation zone. Chris Spittles for the West Country Tonight.
A long trip to the West Country proved fruitless for Bradford, who were beaten by a freak Exeter goal at St James's Park. With 20 minutes gone, Dean Moxey's cross looped up off Graham Lee's shoulder and beat keeper Rhys Evans to secure the Grecian's second win in 3 games.
It only took playoff hopefuls Exeter 5 minutes to penetrate the Accrington back line. Adam Stansfield's pace was finished off with an unerring finish, but the Grecians were unable to extend their unbeaten away run to 5 games. Because Stanley have now picked up 10 points out of 12. John Miles' first goal since December made it 1-1. It really was a lovely finish. And the Stanley winner came in the second half from on loan Liverpool striker Craig Linfield. He punished some hesitant defending from the Devonians, who travelled to Rochdale next, while Stanley entertained Darlington.
OK, another game now between two clubs looking to lift themselves out of League Two. Rochdale against Exeter. Peter Stevenson reports.
It's that time of year when you lean on your lucky lion. The smiles hid the tension. Time to perhaps phone a friend or crack the one-liner.
Hello, Mum.
Rochdale in second want to leave League Two, preferably avoiding the in 6th. Good emotions.
If you can guarantee me going to Wembley and get promoted, I'd take it every day of the week. But we're in an opportune situation where we can get automatic promotion.
We're in this position now where we've got half a chance. We've earned the chance we're now involved with, and we're making the best of it. But I think we're enjoying it.
Promotion for Rochdale would be undeniably romantic after 35 years in League Two. Could they recover from a heavy midweek defeat, and would a second 300-mile trip north in a week affect Exeter? On a wet and windy day, 2 dead ball specialists were in good form. First, Dean Moxey's free kick looked a certain goal till it hit the frame and Rochdale scrambled away the rebound. Not to be outdone, Tom Kennedy stepped up and brought a superb save from Exeter's keeper Paul Jones. Rochdale shaded the first half and were rewarded with the opening goal. Rory McCardle's back post header gave Lee Thorpe the chance to pounce from close range. But Exeter were level 10 minutes into the second half. Marcus Stewart mistimed his initial header, but was quickest to force in the loose ball. Delight for the fans from Devon. After a much tighter second half, 2 substitutes provided late drama. The pace of Rochdale's Adam Lafondra tempted Troy Archibald Henville into a rash challenge. The penalty wasn't the best, but Lafondra hammered in the rebound for his 20th goal of the season. But in Exeter's next attack, they too won a penalty when Stuart Fleetwood, who'd just come on, was upended by Nathan Stanton. Stuart showed all his 38 years of experience to calmly slot home and then enjoy more celebrations. And predictably, mixed emotions at the final whistle as the promotion race nears a nail-biting conclusion.
I'm delighted with the way we came back into the game twice from a goal down. I'm very proud of the way the team played and the spirit they showed.
1 goal to the advantage twice at home, and especially so late on in the game, we should have taken all 3 points. Regardless of the performance of both of the sides, when you're in that situation and you're battling for promotion, you should be taking all 3 points. There should be a ruthless mentality.
I'm just very pleased where we are in the league at the moment, and we've got a chance, and it might come to something, it might not. We'll see.
The maths is we're still third. Wycombe have got 2 games in hand on us. A lot of football to play, 6 games. So 3 home, 3 away. Simple. Win them all.
When you put it like that, Keith, it is easy, isn't it?
Yeah, but it may not be as easy as I said.
No, in practice,
yeah.
In theory, it might be. Good to see Marcus Stewart still playing and enjoying his football. Once the top English goal scorer in the Premier League and still enjoying his football down the bottom of the league.
And still scoring, which is crucial for Exeter right now. You know, he's went from the top, scoring goals in the Premiership, to also, I know a few years ago, helping Yeovil get into the playoffs and doing well there. And obviously, he's a goal scorer.
There's actually a right-footed goal amongst these.
Well, I'll wait to see this because I don't believe you. But listen, if he keeps himself fit, he's a natural goal scorer. And as I say, he'll be helping Leicester with his Exeter, with his experience at a crucial time.
36 now. What are you now, Dougie?
34.
Yeah. Is it harder for a striker to call it a day eventually, because the buzz you guys get is enormous, isn't it, by scoring goals? It's hard to give that up, isn't it?
As you know, I was asked to take over at Crystal Palace, the reserves last year. I decided to go up to Leeds because I needed the feeling of scoring goals, and that is the biggest factor from a forward. You know, scoring goals gives you that sort of the drug that we live on.
And it's difficult to get that run going, isn't it? But when it comes along, there's no explanation. Sometimes you score goals.
You score goals, exactly. With a belief, you as you say, you find the team you always score against. You feel comfortable playing against them. You score goals. It gives you that belief to go on in a run. At this time of the season for Marcus, it's very good that he started scoring goals for Exeter, as I say.
Yeah, the right time of the season. Yeah, both. Okay, to League Two. And 8 years ago, Marcus Stewart was the leading English goal scorer in the Premier League. Now he's deep in Devon, but still enjoying his football and approaching 250 career goals. Dominic Johnson reports.
His career may have spanned 18 seasons, but Marcus Stewart has one burning ambition left: to help guide Exeter into League One with automatic promotion.
I want to finish my career on a high, and if I can do it at this club, then I'll be delighted, because, like I say, there's not many more games or maybe years left in me. I'm still fit. I still enjoy my football, but sometimes you got to call it a day. And I want to finish on a high. I don't want to be finishing playing football from the subs bench. It's not my game. I'm too old for that.
They played Dagenham this weekend, with Stewart on the verge of his 250th career goal, and with the knowledge of what they need to do if they are to finish in the top three.
You need to be stubborn. You need to learn how to win games, how to see games off if you're 1-0 up, and more importantly, you need to have the character to come from 1-0 down and get results like we've done probably 7 or 8 times this season. We've shown character and got draws or a win when it didn't really look like it.
And that character was tested during the week when Dan Seaborn was sent off after only 21 minutes. But an own goal later from Port Vale's Luke Prosser gifted them the points.
And I think the supporters realised what a big win it was as well. When you get reduced to 10 men, two yellow cards, and you can feel hard done by, or you can get on with it and knuckle down. And it was a big performance. So again, I think it's a real fillip for us going into the last month.
Having fought their way back into the Football League, the Grecians know where they've come from, and that has been the bedrock for this season's success.
Part of it's a fear not to go back to those days. It's not just about looking forward and sort of being, rosy and optimistic. It's about, there's a bit of fear there that we've had some bad days and we don't want to go back to them. And that's my job, to make sure that we get that principle on the pitch.
If Stewart does decide to hang up his boots at the end of this campaign, he's keen to avoid another trip to Wembley.
Everyone said that to me, but I want to do it automatically. I don't want to go to Wembley. I've been there, which is nice.
Yeah, he wants to go up straight away, doesn't he? And who can blame him? What a great career he's had, Marcus Stewart.
So, to turn around and say, we've got 250 goals he's going to score approaching. That's a great record, and he wishes he could carry on playing for a lot longer, but unfortunately, the older you get, your body does start to become a little bit wary, but the experience he's got is invaluable, and hopefully he can pass that on to the rest of his teammates in such a way that they can be successful like they are being this season.
249 goals, probably over 200 with his left foot.
Quite probably. Very intelligent though, Marcus. I had a short spell with him at Sunderland. Very intelligent player. Because he isn't blistering quick anyway, he could probably play on if he wanted to. I think now it will just be a case of if he wants to stay on. I think his body could probably play on for another year or so, if he wants to.
It's Dagenham and Redbridge next, but then they've got, in the next games, they've got Brentford and Wickham. I know you should never look ahead, and they're probably not, but Brentford and Wickham might decide where they finish, Nigel, mightn't they? those 2 games.
Could do, the great games to go and play in, and as you say, could decide whether they're going to be in that top 3, whether they're going to be in the playoff positions. The great games, you know, that's what you want this time of the season now.
Yep, bring them on.
Exeter's Stuart Fleetwood scored 2 of the best goals of his career to see off Dagenham at St James's Park. The on-loan Charlton forward held off the attentions of Magnus Okuange before curling his shot beyond keeper Tony Roberts. 2 wins in the previous 3 had put the Daggers back in playoff contention, and they were gifted an equaliser when Grecian's keeper Paul Jones and Roy Archibald Henville collided to leave Ben Strevens with an empty net to aim at and put the Daggers in party mood. Exeter boss Paul Tisdale has banned his players from talking about promotion, but their 3rd win in 5 games sees them just 4 points behind leaders Brentford. Fleetwood with another excellent strike to seal a 2-1 win.
Brentford may be top of the pile, but Exeter are the team in form, and Stuart Fleetwood had them in front midway through the first half. The Grecians are chasing automatic promotion themselves, but Matt Gill handed their hosts away back into the match. Paul Jones got the better of Billy Clark, but the young striker partially made up for the miss with just a minute to go. Quickest to David Hunt's cross to salvage a point for the Bees. Their 4th draw in 5 games.
They've seen Brazil, Manchester United, Uri Geller and Michael Jackson at Exeter City, but St James was really up for it when fellow promotion contenders Wickham came calling. Tony Lockwood reports.
They've been one of League Two's success stories, a club that looks to be on the up. All the talk among the Exeter City fans was of a 2nd straight promotion.
I think most City fans, when we came up, you know, we probably thought mid-table, maybe playoffs, but to be in this position now, it's in our own hands, isn't it? I mean, if we do it, we've got a chance.
I'll be honest, and I'll say that after we won at Wembley last season, I would have been very happy to have been mid-table at this stage of this season. However, given the spirit that this club has got on the pitch and off the pitch, the support that the club has got, I think we are where we are. The league table never lies.
Exeter striker Marcus Stewart was missing because of injury. He'll consider his footballing future in the summer. Peter Taylor's Wickham well placed for the final run-in. A chance for the managers to reacquaint themselves and for the home supporters to turn up in number for a match of special significance.
If you're 8-10 years of age supporting Exeter City these days, you've been to Wembley twice, a win and a defeat. You've been to Old Trafford and then back here for a replay live on telly. All sorts of excitement in playoff matches, and now there's a team that, you know, if you go to school with an Exeter shirt on, you're not really going to be laughed at.
Paul Tisdale's side, who'd survived an early scare, almost edged ahead late in the first half. Steve Basham's header came back off the crossbar to leave it goalless, but Matthew Gill changed all that after the restart with what proved to be the winner for the Grecians, and expertly taken. Wickham failed to deal with the danger, and Gill's angled effort was perfectly struck. Substitute Craig McAllister nearly added a second as Exeter threatened to kill the game off. John Paul Pittman came closest to an equaliser, but Wickham's mini revival had been halted. Exeter up to 2nd in the table and closing in on another promotion.
At the moment, in terms of me talking about finishing 2nd or 3rd, nonsense. And until 10 to 5 on May the 2nd, it's all hypothetical. We just have to be. We have to be focused and know that there's 3 games and 9 points at stake. You're right. You know, if we win 3 games, then we're okay. But this league's not quite as simple as that.
1 or 3 points would have been first class for us today, but unfortunately it wasn't the case. We've still got 4 massive games to go now, and it's up to us to pick ourselves up. Hopefully the injuries are not too serious today, and we can pick ourselves up when we get a win the next game.
Over 8,000 in the crowd there for Exeter, which is great, isn't it, after their promotion last season, and against one of the top teams to win 1-0, Matt Gill get the goal. Such a big win.
A brilliant result, and Matthew Gill doesn't get many goals, probably as rare as Michael Jackson and Uri Geller turn up, I would imagine, but what a great finish, and you can bet he'll be taping this or Sky Plusing this over and over again, having worked with him at Peterborough. A great lad who's come down from into non-league and managed to come back up with a terrific setup there that Paul's got going.
Will it matter, Adi, that 2 of their 3 are away?
No, I think the momentum that they've got, you know, Paul's done a fantastic job there, obviously working with Steve. He's his own man. The cravat there at the end, the Terry Thomas look-alike, I've really enjoyed. and I think he's gonna do it, I really do.
Right. And Wycombe have 4 games remaining, Ronnie, and with Peter Taylor there, should be a cool head, shouldn't there?
Yeah, I think so. He knows what it's all about. He's been there before. They've been knocking on the door for probably past 4 or 5 seasons, you know, and I think they'll do it this year. You know, you look at the fixtures that they've got there, and you know they're winnable games for them. And fingers crossed for Peter. I think they'll do it.
Right. Okay. Now,
at Sinsel Bank, the news wasn't much better either. Exeter needed to lose points against Lincoln, and with 2 minutes left, the game looked deadlocked at 0-0. Then Dean Moxey put in a speculative cross, which deceived keeper Rob Birch, and then hit him after rebounding off a post. It was news that went down like a lead balloon at Griffin Park. Brentford will now hope that a point at Dagenham and Redbridge in midweek will bring them the promotion their outstanding season has merited.
well, but for their 17-point penalty, Rotherham would be in the mix at the top of League Two. As it is, at least 3 clubs behind Brentford are still locked in the struggle for automatic promotion. Patrick Davison reports.
A decisive weekend looms in the race for automatic promotion from League Two. Brentford's defeat at Dagenham and Redbridge means nothing has yet been decided at the top of English football's 4th tier. With the rest probably too far back, it's looking like Wycombe, Exeter and Bury will be the teams to battle Andy Scott's side for a place in the top 3.
We all thought that Wycombe would run away with it all of a sudden. They stopped, and it just has become anybody's really, and probably there would probably be about 8 or 10 teams that all thought that they could win the title, but at the moment it seems to be probably 4 or 5 that have a chance.
It's very close, and actually it's a remarkable season when even the penultimate Saturday of the year we still haven't got any teams promoted, so it's going to be a really big weekend. We all know it's there's so many connotations and results that can work one way or the other. We just have to, as the cliche goes, worry about ourselves and win our 2 games left.
Getting promotion is a long, hard season, and lots of hard work have been put in by all your staff, all the players, everybody connected with the club. So it means everything, because as I say, for quite a while now, the club here has been trying to get into the next division.
Wycombe won at Luton on Tuesday night. Another 3 points at Port Vale on Saturday, and they'll be promoted if either Bury or Exeter drop points. Their fate is very much in their own hands.
There's been lots of times, because of poor form and poor results, we've had to rely on people dropping points as well. But now we're in the position that we're in. I think the best thing we can do is to try to win both matches. No game's going to be easy, but maybe at half-time, if somebody wanted to inform me that a certain team might be beating Bury, then I might take that.
4 years ago, only being drawn against Manchester United in the FA Cup stopped Exeter going out of business. But after winning the conference playoffs last season, victory against Morecambe on Saturday, coupled with a Bury defeat, and it will be back-to-back promotions for the Grecians.
The club it's steadily progressed. It's cut its cloth. It became healthy again. It found its feet, and it's built slowly. And we've had 3 years now where we've had a final sort of push at the end of the year for either promotions or playoffs, so that can't be bad. It's been exciting times.
Bury's transformation in Alan Neil's first full season has hardly been less remarkable. After 4 consecutive years battling at the wrong end of League Two, they're currently just a point off the automatic places.
I think if anyone had said to us at the start of the season, you'd be in the playoffs, we would have all taken that, and quite a few would probably not thought it was possible. But I just think that we've done so well all season, and never really dipped. I think we have momentum.
And so after 44 games and 9 months, for Alan Neil and Peter Taylor at least, it's come down to a couple of pairs of lucky tracksuit bottoms.
It's funny, I had to go at the kit man this morning because the trousers that he supplied to me on Tuesday night for Luton were probably Junior Lewis's. They're the longest trousers. I've had to keep wrapping them round, and he said I'm going to have to wear them again, so I'll probably have them on again Saturday.
I've got tracksuit bottoms on that I can't change because the groundsman won't let me, or the kit man won't let me change them because apparently they're lucky.
I've got no superstition at all, I'm afraid. No, I'm afraid not. No, I'm just going to be concentrating on the team, so there'd be no pants on show or anything like that, I'm afraid.
Exeter's bid for a second successive promotion will go down to the final day after they were held at home by Morecambe. The Grecians fell behind after 9 minutes when Stuart Drummond headed in a Michael Twist free kick. But the home side scored twice in 4 minutes at the start of the second half as they looked for a fifth win in 6 games. Dean Moxey sidestepped keeper Barry Roach to score the equaliser. Paul Tisdale's side then went ahead for the first time with a fine solo effort from Ryan Harley. And a sellout St James's Park saw promotion moving a step closer. But Morecambe, who miss out on the playoffs due to too many draws, levelled with 11 minutes left. Drummond getting the touch to another twist free kick. Exeter need to win at Rotherham on the final day.
Welcome back. We're in the company of Kevin Phillips and Robbie Blake. In League 2, Brentford were already up as champions. That left 3 clubs, Wycombe, Exeter and Bury, fighting over 2 automatic places. In the end, it came down to a single goal, with Wycombe, the club, thankful. Patrick Davison reports.
The final day of the League 2 season, and it was only 2 from 3. Wycombe needed just a point to secure promotion, and there was a definite feeling at Adams Park that they were almost there. Exeter's destiny was also in their own hands. Win at Rotherham and they'd guarantee back-to-back promotions. Waiting in the wings were Bury. Alan Nill's side would need to try and win by as many as they could and hope one of the other 2 slipped up. They'd need Notts County to beat Wycombe and a 3-goal swing in goal difference to stand any chance of catching Peter Taylor's team. But what had seemed highly unlikely at 3 o'clock looked a distinct possibility half an hour later. John Thompson's long-range shot somehow evading Jamie Young. Elsewhere though, their luck was holding, and with other games goalless, Wycombe levelled at the start of the second half. Captain David McCracken getting Wycombe back on course. Then at Bury, visitors Accrington were awarded a penalty when Wayne Brown upended Chris Turner. The hosts reprieved when Peter Kavanagh blasted the kick against the crossbar. Then, with just 19 minutes remaining of their game at Rotherham, Exeter took a major step toward promotion. Richard Logan putting them on course for the win, which would secure their top 3 place. 5 minutes later, they had the chance to rubber stamp that place. Dale Tong's challenge earning him a red card, and Exeter a penalty. Stuart Fleetwood, though, squandered the chance to relieve the tension. Wycombe's passage had been looking comfortable until in the final minute there was a twist at Adams Park. Thompson's second leaving them suddenly reliant on other results. No such problems for Exeter. The full-time whistle at the Don Valley meant that for only the 4th time in their 105-year history, the Grecians were up to English football's 3rd tier.
We thought it was going to go to the last, and it did, and well, the last 15-20 minutes were torture actually, but we've done it, and we did it the hard way. I suppose we missed a penalty when we could have made it safe, and we're just chuffed at the moment.
Still uncertainty for Wycombe though. Initially they seemed to think they'd done enough. But Bury was still playing, and in injury time were awarded a penalty for a handball on the line, which saw Andy Proctor dismissed. Phil Jevons stepped up to score, sparking a pitch invasion from fans who thought their team had done enough. In fact, with time left to play, Bury needed one more to go up. For those at Wycombe watching on Soccer Saturday and waiting for confirmation, the tension was unbearable. Then Jeff Stelling delivered the news that by a 1 better goal difference, Wycombe were up.
Players work so hard for 8-9 months, whatever it is, and it's lovely that at the end of the day they can say they've got reward for their effort. So delighted, absolutely delighted to get another promotion.
For Bury to be 4th in the league and is in itself an unbelievable achievement. I think 14 months ago we were 3rd from bottom, so we've had an unbelievable season for us.
Playoffs then for Bury, but for Exeter and for Wycombe, League 1 awaits.
So Wycombe sort of reversed into League 1, didn't they? But it's over the whole season, Robbie. That's the whole point, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean they started really well, and I think they were, fairly clear at one stage. But they had a bit of a blip, and they managed to get there in the end. That's the most important thing, is promotion. That's what Peter Taylor wanted come the start of the season. He's got it, and now we can rebuild and focus on the next season ahead.
Great achievement, another one for him, yes. And Exeter managed by Paul Tisdale, who I think you were an apprentice with.
Yeah, I was an apprentice with Paul a long time ago. But,
did he wear cravats then?
I'd have been worried if he did. No, he's done an excellent job at Exeter, and you could see the relief there. As he said, they did it the hard way on the day because they missed a penalty.
Yeah.
But they got there in the end.
Richard Logan getting the goal for them against Rotherham, wasn't it? And
yeah.
Back-to-back promotions, any level, anywhere.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether it's non-league or in professional football. It's a tremendous achievement. Fantastic header there at the back stick. You know, you say to any centre forward, just try and head it back across the goalkeeper, and you know, 9 times out of 10 you'll score. Great header.
Well done to all the automatically promoted teams then.
It's got to be time. Exeter continue their heartwarming comeback from the brink of extinction. Their progress under Paul Tisdale astonishing.
It's 3 years running, 3 years of excitement and back-to-back promotion. So we said it was a must-win game and we won it.